What's up, YouTube? We back with another review. This is DandaDan, episode 5. Let's get it. And so the episode starts off with Akaran arriving at school the next morning. He's anxious and nervous, and he's overthinking on what to do when he meets her. And so as he's looking around for Momo, he finally sees her. She's waiting for him at the gate. And with him still overthinking, he says, hey, she's not waiting for me. Why would she be waiting for me? And so as they make eye contact, he starts walking towards. He says, how about I just ignore her? And so as he passes her up, looking to avoid her, Momo bumps into him and says, hey, what are you doing? And so they start to talk. Momo starts to ask him about the alien encounter and how curious she was about the aliens that had approached her that day. But Akaran, he's overthinking things. He don't know what to say. He don't know what to do. He's basically overwhelmed by anxiety and nervousness. And so they both part ways and they go to class. But as they go to class, both of them are just thinking about each other. Momo's thinking to herself, hey, I want to talk to Akaran about the occult and the UFOs and aliens. And Akaran saying, hey, I want to talk to Momo about ghosts and spirits. And so after not being able to stop thinking about one another, the bell rings for lunch. And they're both looking for each other. And the craziest thing is as they're both looking for each other, it seems as if they hide in plain sight. And so wherever Momo goes to look for Akaran, Akaran isn't there. He's just left. And wherever Akaran goes to look for Momo, she isn't there. She had just left. And so after playing this game of hide and seek with each other, Momo thinks that Akaran's avoiding her, and Akaran thinks that Momo's avoiding him. And so after not being able to find each other, they both sit on a bench. But ironically, they're sitting right next to each other, but they can't even notice it because they're so depressed and they're overthinking about each other. And the most funniest thing happens next. After being so sad about each other, they both have their heads down and they're getting up to walk away. And strangely enough, they run right into each other, awkwardly coming mouth to mouth. And so after this awkward run-in, they started to talk to each other. Akaran's telling her that he thought that she was avoiding him, and Momo tells him that she was thinking the same thing about him. And so after their little talk, Momo friends pop up and they say, hey, they kissed. Momo then yells and says, hey, no, I didn't. I would never kiss this idiot. And Akaran clap back. He says, hey, I would never kiss anyone like you. And so after their little squabble, they're angry with each other and they vow not to talk to each other again. And so the next scene is Akaran. He's in the bathroom. He's thinking to himself, hey, I knew I shouldn't have been provoked by her talking bad about me. He says there's just so many things he want to talk to her about. And he says, I need to apologize. And right as he's saying that, he looks down as he's using the bathroom, and the most craziest thing happened. His testicles are gone. So in a panic, he runs out of the bathroom. He has to go tell Momo this. And so as he bomb rushes in Momo's class, she says, hey, what the hell are you doing here? He says, hey, I have to tell you something important. But she blows him off. She says, hey, after our argument earlier, I thought you didn't want to talk. He then tries to apologize. He says, hey, I'm sorry. I really just wanted to talk to you. And after he pleads and pleads for her to talk to him, she says, no, leave. I don't want to talk. And so after he's rejected, he leaves. And as he's walking through the hall depressed with his head down, he runs into another female. She's pretty, and she seems very nice at the beginning by making him feel good and making him smile. And so as they're walking in the hallway, Momo then arrives. She says, man, I feel bad for how I treated him. I feel like I'm the bad guy. And as she's saying that, she actually sees him and the girl. To her surprise, she says, hey, I thought he didn't have any friends. And she's cute. And so as she's looking from afar, them being friendly with each other and looking like they're cool, the girl passes her up. And as she passes her up, she doesn't know Momo is Akaran's friend. And Momo hears this girl talking bad about him. She says, hey, he should be happy that I even talked to him. And so she's saying how she tricked him and thinking that she liked him. And he's such a loser. And as soon as she hears this, Momo gets mad and uses her psychic powers to grab a wash bin and throw it onto her head. And so as Momo grabs Akaran and they're leaving out, she gives this girl the death stare like, yeah, I'm the one who did it to you. And so moving along, her and Akaran, they're walking. And she then apologizes to him for treating him so bad earlier. He accepts it and he says, no, I'm just glad we made up. And so right after that, he tells her the situation at hand. He tells her, hey, I have no balls. And Momo, hilariously, she can't stop laughing at this situation. And so they go back to her grandmother's house. And as her grandmother's talking to Akaran, she says, I have to look inside of your soul. She then says she believes there's something hiding inside. And so she performs a ritual. And as she's performing this ritual, Momo's looking inside of Akaran. And she notices that a weird aura inside of him changes colors. And so her grandmother says, yes, that's the evil spirit. And she tells Momo, she says, hey, with your psychic powers, grab it out of him. And so as Momo does it, she grabs this aura and pulls it out. And to her surprise, it's Turbo Granny. But she's not the regular Turbo Granny. She's now in the form of the doll that Momo's grandmother used for the special ritual. And so now she's in her doll form and she's running away. She's trying to get away from them. And so after chasing her for so long, Momo uses her psychic powers and she tracks her down. And Momo's surprise is Turbo Granny. She says, wait, I thought we killed this thing. And Turbo Granny says, what? You youngins couldn't kill me. She says, just as she was about to be burned to death, she actually transformed and she went inside Akaran's body. And she hid in his testicles, hiding out until she can get her full power back. She says, I was going to wait till the right moment to kill both of you. And Momo says, hey, you've already lost. And Turbo Granny gets mad. She says, hey, I'm the one that has the advantage. I'm the one that has the balls. She says, and if you try to kill me, your balls will never come back. And so she demands Akaran to kill Momo and her grandmother. And something strange happens to Akaran. He actually transforms back to Turbo Granny, but she's not even inside of him. And so Momo is surprised. She says, how did that happen? And her grandmother explains that Turbo Granny conscious left out of him, but her spiritual powers still remain. And that's why Akaran can transform back into her. Her grandmother also says that she's the only one that can connect the conscious back to her spiritual powers. And so essentially, she controls if she dies or not. And so as Turbo Granny, she's looking nervous. Grandmother starts beating her. And as she tries to run away from getting beat, Momo tells her grandmother to stop. And so Momo makes a deal with Turbo Granny. She says, if you return the balls, we'll return your spiritual powers. And so later after, Turbo Granny agrees to the deal. But the funny thing about it is she says, hey, I dropped the balls. I don't know where they at. And they all go, what? And so, guys, that pretty much is the end of the episode. That's Dan Season 1, Episode 5. I'm out.